This is a 1955 Gottlieb Southern Belle wood rail pinball machine. This is a rather interesting game for me because it is both a sample game, and I suspect that it could be either the prototype or the first sample ever made by engineering. There's evidence that I found on the underside of the playfield when I was first purchased the game and I started working on it. I saw something on the underside that I had never seen before, and I checked with other wood rail experts and they never saw it either. So I had it documented on the Internet Pinball database, and you can go there and search for the Southern Belle pinball machine, and you'll find both my photographs of what I found and a summary comments by the webmaster from Internet Pinball database as to what he thinks that it might be. They call it an engineering sample. I was originally thinking prototype, but they pretty much mean the same thing. Probably the first one made. There might have been other samples made. I'm really not sure. I have never seen another sample Southern Belle pinball machine, so I can't say for sure. But this one shows a sign of being slightly different from even sample games compared to other Gottlieb sample games that I've had over the years. We will talk about the differences between this game and a production game. That's mainly down in the apron area and these inserts, and we'll talk about that next. Then we'll review the back glass, because that was a rather ambitious repair project that I had to keep the original back glass on here. It had to be repaired. And then we'll take a tour of the cabinet, the insides of the back box, the insides of the cabinets, underside the playfield, and we'll see it play a game, and we'll go over all that. But the apron on this game is different than a production apron. This is the apron that came with the machine. It has a Gottlieb part number on it down there, and it's an official Gottlieb apron that survived all these years. This is probably the only one left in existence. I've never seen another one of this design. There may be some out there, but I've never seen them. Someone else with a sample game may be able to help me out with how many of these that there might be, but this one survived. So what I did was I scanned it, and I fixed the graphics a little bit from the scan, and I reproduced an apron to put on the game. Now the difference between this engineering sample game and a production game starts with the inserts here. The color of the text is completely different on this game than on the production games. On the apron, these ball number lights are different than a production game. On the engineering sample game, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so when you went to game over, you had ball 5, but nothing said game over. The production game replaced the insert for the fifth ball with a rather large raised insert that had game over written on it to signify that the fifth ball was in fact the game over. So that's one difference right there. The other difference is the graphics are different, this arrow is different, the angle that the holes were drilled is different in between the engineering samples and the production game. This font and font size was different down here, the arrow's different. One of these scorecards is a different size than the production game, and this cutout right here is not the same as the production game. So for some reason, when they designed this game, they started out with this standard apron design here, and I don't know how many games they made of this. This is the only one that I've ever seen. Let's go over the scoring of the game and how this particular game operates. Right now, I have the game set up where these two upper specials and this rollover special button are lit. Only certain circumstances will get these lit, so I went through that sequence to get them lit so you can see them. These upper two lanes are activated by the upper switch on the two gobble hole lanes. You get a special, which is a free game credit. This lower rollover special is activated by just rolling over it, and you get a free game credit. These don't always come on at the same time. Right now, they coincidentally do. They're both activated through the 10,000 and 100,000 stepper positions, so they're random. The upper lanes are purely activated from the 10,000 and 100,000 steppers. This one here is activated through the same steppers, but you also have to make either the 4 or the 1 for this lower button to be lit. So if we do the rollover button here, you heard the knocker and we get a credit. It counts the game up here. The same thing when you go on the upper lanes, and that extinguishes them because the scoring steppers have advanced, and now they're off of those rivets that give you this connection for the specials. The upper lanes, if you roll over all 4 of these, you get, it sets up a special. So let's set that up. Roll over 1, 2, 3, and we get 1 special light here, which is activated by a target. The way you get both special lights lit is you roll over the bottom here as well, A, B, and C, and now they're both lit. When you hit a target, you hear the knocker and you get a free game. Same with that one. The bumpers score 10,000 when lit. They score 100,000. These dead bumpers up here score 100,000. Rollovers score 10. Gobble holes have 3 100,000 switches plus a 500,000 gobble hole score. You have scoring bumpers here. You have your kickers here. And that is essentially it. When these are extinguished, these are worth 50,000 on the upper lanes. You can enter your gobble hole lanes from either the top lane, which gives you the 300,000 switches. If you enter 1 level down, you get 2 100,000 switches. If your ball enters in here, you get 1 100,000 switch down here score. But you still get the 500,000. In addition, these bottom rollovers here are randomly activated by the 10,000 switch. And these will activate the upper lane as if you rolled over the upper lane as well, setting up the sequence for a special. Right now, all the upper lanes have been rolled over, so these buttons aren't active right now. You can see that they randomly light up. Let's see how it plays. Let's take a closer up look at the cabinet. Now on the front, you will notice that this coin door looks a little bit out of place on this machine. It looks like it came from a totally different machine. If you check the brochure for this, or the flyer for this pinball machine, you'll see that this exact door is pictured on this game. So this is the factory door, and that was verified by an inspection number probably, which is 49 right there. And then right in there is the same 49. So these are a matched set that came with the machine. This is the original back glass on the machine, and I certainly wanted to try to save it if I possibly could. It had quite a bit of damage on it, but for the past few years I've been developing a water slide decal method of repairing back glasses that's been working out quite well. So this offered me a challenge to do one of my biggest projects that I've ever done with repairing a back glass. The areas around here were very damaged. I had to replace these, including some parts of the bells, the ends of the banner flags there. This area in between the score windows and the title was damaged, and a large panel here, including part of the woman, had to be replaced. So this large panel is a repair job here. The bottom of the back glass was damaged. I had to replace that. And this large center area where the backlit score windows are had to be replaced, and that's about this size here. Now the 10,000 is an original backlit number, and I had to replace all the other numbers except 90. So I kept 10,000, I kept 90. They were in good shape, but all the others were gone. I had to replace them. So these are the ones that I had done to compare to right here. And then that's an original. The playfield is in quite good condition considering the age of the machine and how much it had been played. It certainly shows signs of being a very popular machine. Areas that I had to repair were these 3 zeros here. That's a decal repair. Then there's another decal repair here. The 100 numbers are repaired. The pop bumper areas were very worn, all of them. They were kind of chewed up, which is typical of these kinds of games. So I had to fill those in with a clear, hard compound, and I leveled them, and then I covered them up with a self-stick mylar. So they came out looking very nice. That's the original wood pattern showing there. The condition of the paint is somewhat typical for machines of this age. It has the slight cracking of the paint in the wood grain. These top inserts here, I did not pull them out and try to level them. They're actually reasonably level the way they are. They're a little bit high in the middle and very slightly lower on the edges, and I felt that they were plenty good enough to leave them alone. I certainly didn't want to damage any graphics on those original ones. The pop bumper caps have been replaced. All the plastics are new reproduction from Shea Reproduction, so they're really very, very nice plastics. Overall, the paint shows the normal amount of wear that you would expect. The typical pitting that happens from all the ball action.